try not to ask you too many questions before we get started. But are you still stuck down south?
No. I'm back home in Ontario. Yeah.
We are good to get going whenever you guys are ready. So, Frankie, if you want to kick us off.
Are we live right now? Okay, we are.
Yeah. We're live recording. We are good to go.
All right. So I guess first things first, Nathan, I want to thank you for coming on with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty special for us, considering you've kind of been the talk of the town in the CFL for the last little bit. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So I guess we'll kind of start it off with you went to the U.S. for grade 12, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of want to know why you decided to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Are we going right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
You're good.
All right. Well, the whole deal the entire time was trying to get a Division I scholarship, and that exposure wasn't really happening back home in Canada. So we went down to camp, stuff like that. It wasn't happening, and so kind of the situation came up where we had an opportunity to go down to a school where they had just graduated. Their senior, and they had the next guy up was going to be a freshman. So that we went down. It was a good opportunity for both schools, or both parties, and so we took try to take advantage of it and try to get more exposure in the backyard of American teams, or American colleges rather.
And I was watching some of your highlight tapes, and I noticed one of the announcers said at one point that you felt like it may have not been worth it. So kind of want to hear straight from the horse's mouth. Do you think it was worth it? Would you, if you had to do it again, would you do it again?
I don't know if it was worth it or not. I know that if the opportunity to do it all again, I'd do it the same way. I think that everything happens for a reason, and in terms of just trusting God's plan, I think that I'm a big believer in that, and there is many valuable lessons I learned along the way in terms of getting to Alabama and then going to junior college after that, and then that road I think is for me it developed me as a person and developed my character. It made me really think long and hard about how much I love football, going off to all these different things, different places to try to get to a goal. And then obviously I think the biggest thing was that it was a big time for me to learn just who was in my corner, the support that I had around me from my family, and they were completely supportive throughout the entire time. And I really felt like I grew in my relationship with them as well through the time that I was away from home, and then obviously them supporting me in Alabama. So I thought that was valuable in that way. So I wouldn't have done it any other way. There's no doubt in my mind.
Shane, were you going to say something? I don't know if you're muted there or not.
Yeah. What was it like playing in the NCAA, coming from Canada and then having to go to Alabama? What was the experience, for you in meshing with a lot of Americans that's what they grew up with? You had to transition from 3-down ball to 4-down ball. Yeah,
so I mean, I had a little bit of experience with 4-down ball in the American game, high schools and then junior college. So when I was in the NCAA at Ohio, I mean, I had made that transition over the last 2 years, so there wasn't much of it. It wasn't much of a change there. But I mean, it is different. People recognize you as a Canadian, whether that's your accent or just certain words and how you spell things and little silly things like that stick out that people recognize you as that and be in that environment. So. But it was fun. It was a good experience. That's what I wanted to do for a long time, is to play in Division I and play in the NCAA, and I was very privileged to be able to do so.
So what was it difficult for you to move down to the States and then end up getting no offers? You kind of had to work your way to get to the NCAA. So was that kind of a difficult thing for you to swallow?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a huge disappointment at the time. For not just me, for my family as well. We were so. We had done this big thing, this big move, and they put me in a really good situation. And then when the cards didn't fall like we wanted them to, that it was a huge disappointment, absolutely. But it's one of those things where you just kind of see what else is out there and try to take advantage of the next thing that comes. And that was junior college for me.
So you were expected to be a NFL pick. What was that whole...
Shane, you're muted.
Am I? So you were expected to be a NFL pick. What was that whole experience like, going through the 3 days and not hearing your name called?
Yeah, it was very similar to the experience that I had out of high school when I didn't have any offers out of high school. And, you know, in those days, I think nowadays there's an early signing day, you know, where they sign, I think, in December or November or something like that for the next year's class. And by the time it was on February 1st, and we kept waiting, and some schools had told us that there was going to be a late round or 11th hour or whatever you want to call it offer, where something happened and someone decommitted and we'd get an offer. Like, we were on the cusp of doing it, or so to speak, and it just never came. And so that was extremely disappointing, and it was tough, and that's exactly how I felt with the NFL draft, because we weren't, you know, expecting to get picked or drafted per se, but we were expecting at least to sign with the team. And when I was expecting to get a call right after the draft did, and on Saturday, and then when that didn't come, I was disappointed. I had a hard time sleeping that night, and then Sunday I didn't have a call, and then on Monday I didn't have a call. So it was a long couple of days, and you just, you know, on Monday, you know, Sunday I kind of moped around a little bit, but on Monday I woke up and I told myself I was gonna stop feeling sorry for myself and start moving on to the next thing, just like I did with junior college. And if that's going to be another route to get where I want to go, then so be it. I'm thankful for the opportunity to continue to play the game that I love. So we'll see what happens with that.
Now, you don't have to name any particular teams, but had you been talking to any teams before the draft or even after?
Yeah, absolutely. I was. I mean, not afterwards. Afterwards, it's still been silent. But yeah, before the draft, yeah, my agent and I had narrowed it down to 5 teams, and there was 2 of them for sure that were good situations, and were very interested. I had good conversations with a lot of them, and they had contacted my agent, said same things, and so we were very confident going into that weekend that we were going to at least end up on a team come Sunday. But they had other plans in store for that. So.
So you didn't get drafted. You knew that a week later the CFL draft was happening. Were you in contact with any of the teams before the CFL draft, or were you kind of just like a wait and see kind of thing?
I was in contact with the CFL teams. I had Zoom interviews with I think 7 of the 9 teams, where I sat down with their staff, and kind of similar situation to what we're doing right now, where they kind of interviewed me and whatnot. And yeah, that all went really well. But they were all in terms of up until the NFL draft, they were all very much just waiting to see what would happen with the NFL draft and see if I was signed. Then when I went unsigned, I think we had kind of talked about, hey, we're going to be giving the CFL it was going to be more of an option than we probably thought. So we kind of circulated that a little bit around the league, and I touched base with some teams after the NFL draft leading up to it. And that might have affected how things played out on Thursday.
Kind of back to the NFL front a little bit. Mm-hmm. There's guys still sitting in free agency, like Cam Newton. Andy Dalton was in free agency there for a little bit. There's been some great quarterbacks without jobs. How big of a role do you think that played in either you not getting drafted or you not getting signed afterwards?
I'm not sure how much of a role it came into. I know that some teams that I talked to were talking about signing a veteran quarterback. I think the biggest thing was that they liked other guys better, and they seemed this year to, with the exception of I think Fromm and Tua, I think, where everyone else kind of fit the bill in terms of what they look for in a prototypical quarterback. The height and the weight requirements and the big arm and whatnot. It seemed like everyone else was like that. So it seemed like teams were very set on taking quarterbacks like that. And obviously I don't fit that bill in terms of my measurables and stuff. So I think it's more that, and I think it's a little bit of the coronavirus. I think guys are, there's less of an evaluation period. Guys weren't able to come and kind of interview me and talk to me in person, which I think is something that I do well at. and at my pro day and all that kind of stuff. So they were just kind of going with their safe bets rather than taking a risk on a small school kid, right? Like just like me. So I think it's a lot of things. I think there's a lot of reasons and a lot of things that you could point at.
Are you excited to head to BC and work under Riley? Have you had any kind of communication with him recently, or has it been kind of silent between you two?
No, it was awesome. I the next day, so the Friday morning, I heard from him, and he gave me a call, and I was excited after that because we had gone into the draft knowing that BC was going to be a good situation for us in terms of not only just the franchise, but also, obviously whatever, it's a great franchise and the coaching staff and all that stuff. But the fact that Mike was going to be there and that I was going to be able to learn from him, obviously a very established quarterback in the league and a guy that I can go in and learn from and hopefully be, back up or at least compete for that. And so, yeah, when he gave me a call, I was like, I know that I'm in a good spot right now because he's going to really embrace me being there and he's going to be able to, learn, teach me and not, I think it's going to be a good dynamic in the room, which is important, especially for a young guy like myself. So he's going to teach me, I think, more. He's going to be more valuable in the long run, I think, in learning how to be a pro and learning how to handle myself and as a young guy in the league and then obviously all the on the field stuff and the offense and whatnot. So I'm really happy to be in BC and to learn from a guy like Mike.
So I know you talked to us a little bit about your NFL draft day experience. Can you walk us through a little bit of your CFL draft day experience?
Yeah, so I was just here with my family. We're watching it on TV, and we weren't really expecting to go in the first round. That's just kind of how the CFL draft plays out. With the quarterbacks aren't really taken early, so we weren't thinking there. But there was a range of picks, or usually somewhere in the second round, that we thought that we might be able to go to. Different things that we had heard from different teams and what my agent had heard, and it ended up happening right in a range that we thought it might. So it was a really it was a good deal. I heard from Coach Campbell. He called me and told me that I was going to get drafted, which is kind of the experience that you expect from a draft day, not what I got from the NFL. And so it was good for that to kind of happen, and it was exciting. It was an exciting night.
Yeah, I know during our live stream of the draft, we were talking about where you might fall, and then we look at the tracker and your name pops up for BC, and we're like, I know Frankie was really excited to see that you ended up in BC. And we were both talking that it was a great situation for you. Do you think there's any kind of pressure on you to show that Canadian quarterbacks can play at a high level in this league and be a consistent starter instead of just like a backup or a camp arm?
If there is, I really don't feel it. I'm just excited. That's not really part of my focus right now. I'm just really excited about learning about the system there in BC and learning from Mike, as I said before, and getting kind of my feet wet in there. I think there's going to be a lot of things. Hopefully, when the season gets going, there's going to be a lot of things for me to pick up on quickly, and that's going to be the biggest thing that I'm going to be focusing on. I'm not going to be really worrying about external pressures. Obviously, I understand the implications of me being a Canadian quarterback and the track record of Canadians in specifically quarterbacks in this league. I've been a Canadian quarterback in the States for such a long time and been recognized as such, and so it's not a new title or anything for me to have, and I'm just excited to be able to play at, in a great league as a professional and learn a whole lot.
In terms of your actual play on the field, you like to use your legs a whole bunch. How do you think that's going to translate to the CFL game?
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know what exactly how that's going to be. They're going to utilize that. I do know that when things break down, I can make plays, and I have confidence in that. Obviously at the professional level, guys are going to be faster, and the game's going to be quicker, and it's going to be harder to break tackles. But that's why you train, right? That's why you try to get strong, and you try to be able to do those things, continue to do those things. I think the biggest thing for me is just going to be learning to be a passer and continue to improve there. I think I left a lot to be desired still in the passing game, and I think that might be one of the reasons that the NFL passed on me. I think I can I can continue to do so. I can continue to be have a better understanding of defenses, continue to develop my arm and my mechanics, become more accurate. And I think BC is a great place to do that. And so I'm looking forward to learning that.
Have you already started watching tape of CFL defenses, or have you kind of just taken the last couple of days to relax and kind of soak in that you've made it to a pro league and that you'll be playing professional ball hopefully sometime this year?
Yeah, I just got the playbook and some film access to the film yesterday, so I'm checking that out, and I'll do that later today as well. That has been really exciting. I was really looking forward to doing that. So we'll get more into that as well. Just try to get it done, or just get a little bit of a taste as quickly as possible, and just so whenever we start out, I'm not way behind.
So you have the playbook now.
I have the bear. I don't know, not all of it, the plays and everything, but I have like their basic philosophies, their basic lingo, the starting blocks, if you will.
That's interesting because just about everybody we've talked to so far says they have nothing.
I mean,
so as a quarterback, you know what I mean. You gotta learn. You got 12 other guys, 11 other guys.
Yeah, quarterback. I feel like they're the special ones that kind of get access to that stuff way before linemen or receivers do.
If I didn't get it, I'd be bugging them. So it's probably best for everybody.
That's fair. Rookie camp was supposed to start in less than a week, or in about a week now, with everything pushing everything back. Do you think that's actually going to be beneficial for you in the long run because you have more time to just study the playbook before heading to camp, so you'll be able to execute better? Or do you think that it comes down to more of a timing thing with receivers and reps, or is it a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think that there'll definitely be some time for me to study, and that will be good. But I think the biggest thing in terms of learning an offense is really just comes from getting reps and getting the timing down, like you said. And I think that you can study so much and kind of walk through things on your own, but until you're there with the other 11 guys in the huddle and you get a sense for the operation of things, you get to the rhythm of how the offense works, and you go against a full defense, that's when you can really apply it. I think that you can only learn so much on your own, and there's a certain amount of reps that you have to get to feel ready. That's at least how I feel.
That's fair.
So, again, kind of back to your play on the field, the field from the NCAA to the CFL gets a little bit wider. Do you think there's going to be an adjustment? Do you think your arm strike needs to get better? Or do you think it's just going to be kind of the same deal, just a little bit longer throws?
I think there's going to be a little bit longer throws for sure. Yeah, I think, I think there's going to be an adjustment to the pro level, no matter what league I was playing in. I think that the wider field definitely plays to my strengths as a mobile guy, more space to maneuver. But yeah, I think that there's going to be some throws that I'm going to have to make that I wasn't asked to do before, and I'm fully okay with that. I can't wait to get started with that.
So to take away a little bit from the football side, what can fans expect from you as a person as they get to know, especially in BC? There's always that the stigma around BC is that they're not a passionate fan base. I don't agree with that. I've seen plenty of CFL games where they've probably been some of the most supportive fans. And I saw a couple of your interviews. You said you were a BC fan growing up. But what should fans in the CFL know about you as you're entering into the league?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing I hope is that I'm a team first guy. I've got my goals and my aspirations to play south of the border, but that's not the most important thing to me right now. Is getting settled with the Lions and being the best teammate I can. That's my main goal. My second thing is I have a love and passion for the game, and so I'm going to be a student first and be able to just learn as much as I can. I'm going to work my butt off to help the team and be able to contribute as early as possible. And hopefully we can make the fans in BC proud. And I hope the CFL gets going. I know that we have amazing fans from coast to coast, and I'm really hoping that we can get the game going, within safe regulations. But I think that it'd be great to be able to play my first season in front of the fans like the game's supposed to be played.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that having fans in the stands makes the game a lot more fun than having to play without fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I'll ask you what you're looking forward to the most as you go into your first season with the Lions.
The biggest thing, or one of the biggest things I'd say, is I'm just looking forward to being professional. You know what I mean? I've had a long couple of years where I've kind of just wanted to do that and just kind of worry about perfecting my craft and becoming a better player and becoming a better quarterback, and not have to worry about school or doing homework and all that other stuff. Just kind of focusing on football and making a living that way. That's been a dream of mine for a long time, and to be able to live it out is really fun, and I'm really excited about it. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing.
What's one city that you're looking forward to going to as a visitor?
From just strictly a tourist point of view, I haven't been to any of the prairie provinces. So, Winnipeg and Saskatchewan, Calgary, Edmonton will all be first times that I'll be there. So that would be fun, I think. And then I haven't been to Montreal as well. So I've heard really good things too. So I haven't been in Canada as much as I've wanted to be, kind of visited. So I think this will give me a good opportunity to do so, hopefully. It's that's what I'm probably looking forward to the most. Obviously, when you travel as a team, you don't get to do too much touristy stuff, but I am looking forward to playing in those venues and just being in those provinces and kind of seeing what this beautiful country has to offer.
Have you already started looking for apartments in BC, or are you just waiting to see what happens with this whole COVID situation?
Yeah, probably the latter. Yeah, hopefully we'll start doing that soon, but that will probably not be until down the line, until we've said there's a date for the CFL and for that to get started and whatnot.
So I want to take you back to Ohio because your brother Curtis is also, on the team. So what did that kind of mean to be able to have your brother on the same team as you did?
Yeah, it was our second time being teammates on the same team. When I was in Alabama, he was a sophomore, and this year was special because you, as a quarterback room, obviously there's a real importance to the dynamic there, because obviously one guy can play, and the rest of the guys are kind of supporting that aspect of it, and he was really the second guy for most of the year, and him and another guy, but it was kind of him, at the end, and it was just so cool to spend the whole time that we were there and kind of have those experiences together, and we get along really, really well, and to kind of just go through my senior year, through the ups and the downs together was really special, and he's a tremendous teammate, and he was like, it was just like we were back in high school, and he's going to have an exciting career, and I'm looking forward to watching him.
Did you keep up with the CFL when you were in the States and at Ohio?
A fair amount. I wouldn't say I got every game, but the storylines. I remember watching Mike Riley win the MVP or have a great career or a great season rather, and then win the Grey Cup. I remember that. I remember watching some of the guys that I played with when in Hamilton and in Toronto, and watching some of that action a little bit, but. Sometimes when the season goes on, I even miss some of the NFL games because it's just you're so focused on what you're doing. It's you don't want to wait. Don't really want to watch any other football. Sometimes it's just you want to just focus on what you're doing, and that's it, and kind of have some off time after that. So, but yeah, I've been keeping up with some of the storylines for sure.
Did you introduce any of your teammates to the CFL, or was it kind of one of those things where you didn't really introduce it to anyone, or your teammates just kind of brushed it off?
Yeah, we didn't really talk about it too much. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. Just kind of supporting one another that were former Bobcats. Like I said, we had 3 guys that I played with that are now in the CFL, and kind of keeping up with them. my O-line coach, Coach Rudolph, came from Hamilton, and he was there in one of his former positions. So we would talk about the CFL a good chunk of the time, and just kind of talk ball in that way. So that was probably the only interaction that we had about the CFL.
Regarding I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this or not, but with the Canadian rules about quarterbacks, you won't count as a Canadian for whatever reason. Do you think that's going to hurt your chances at becoming a starter in the CFL or no?
Well, under the new CBA, the starter, if you're a starter, you will count as a Canadian.
Oh, really?
There's the ratio. Yeah, it's just new in the CBA. So I think that's one of the big things about them drafting me where they did. Is that they understand the value of that, which is great, and hopefully we can continue to make strides to be able to make Canadians count and continue to keep this league as Canadian as possible.
What's probably your biggest goal heading into your rookie year? Is it a statistical goal, or is it just a personal, how am I doing throughout the year kind of thing?
Yeah, for me, it's being more able to work up to a position where I'm the second guy and I'm being able to contribute, whether that's in some kind of package or in a third down and short position. Then the other thing is just to be, I think by the end of the year, I hope to be able to, if something were to happen, that I would be able to step in and be comfortable enough with the offense that I can go and do that. That's probably a goal. I don't know if it's a realistic goal or not, but that's where I would like to be at the end of the year.
So you said one of your goals is to become that second quarterback. How do you plan to get there with, Will Arndt in that QB room who has been on CFL practice rosters and on rosters for the last couple of years?
It's just a matter of just me learning and then just competing. I don't think there's any. It gets more complicated. It gets more simple than that. I think. Every guy that's on a CFL roster deserves to be there. And the thing with the professional league is that it's a very cutthroat league. And so, I hope to be able to work my butt off and be able to earn that position. And I mean, it's not going to be easy. Just because you're drafted doesn't mean that you get, first dibs or whatnot. You have to be able to earn it. And I'm prepared for that situation. And, it's not an open thing for me just to be the second guy. And I realize that. So it's just about, I think, getting with Mike and learning from him and from Coach Jordan and just really getting the grasp of the offense.
So a question from one of our listeners is your 3 bowl games. Which one was the one that meant the most to you, and why was that?
It's a good question because they all meant something different. Every team that I was a part of was, I think, very different and had its own identity, and each bowl experience was very different as well. Obviously the last one was my last game, and so it was fun to go out with a win. But I look at that game and there was still a lot of things that I look back on and wish that I had done better. And I was proud of that team as well because we won the game and then we were a winning team. We were 6-6 going to that game and we ended up 7-6. That was awesome as well. But every location was great. Every location, every venue was great. I enjoyed every single one for different reasons, and it's hard to choose just one.
Yeah, I think. What's your take on the college football playoffs and how they go about the rankings? Because that's been a hot topic for the last couple of years for college ball. So what's your take on it?
They'll probably expand it sometime. I think. Yeah, I don't know if that's the controversy or whatnot, or the hot topic, but I think they do a pretty good job of getting the top teams every single year in there, and it just happens to be some really established programs who are very, very good at what they do. So I don't really know. I don't really have anything against it. I didn't really follow college football too much with the BCS championship, and I think this is a better way of getting it to kind of have some kind of, a team wants to go on a run and make it a little bit more exciting. I think that's always good. and try to get the best teams in the national championship.
So I want to bring it back to the BC Lions quarterback room. How do you plan on being supportive to Mike Riley, who obviously is going to be the starter at the beginning of the year?
He's reached out. He's said he's offered support, and you just try to learn as much as you can from him. He doesn't always have to be driving the ship. I don't plan on him, being the one who's pushing me to learn stuff. Like that's not. I don't think that's his job. I've obviously been in a role where I've been the starter, and they bring in guys like every single year that I was there. They brought in another quarterback, and so I know what that's like. It's not. I don't think it's your job necessarily to have that person to learn, but you answer the questions that they have, and you lead by example. And so it's my job as the other guy in the other role to ask the right questions, to follow the way that he's leading, to emulate the way that he's performing and how he's preparing each week, to prepare as the starter every week. And if something were to happen, be able to be ready and to step in. But obviously, if you're not in that position yet, learning as much as you can from them and embrace the support that you're getting from them.
So, quick question before we wrap things up: did the Lions send you any kind of like care package or gift package after you were drafted?
They have not. No.
That would have been interesting. I know that's kind of like a thing that a lot of leagues do, and I was just curious on if the CFL ever did something like that. So if they do, we definitely don't see it.
Yeah, I wish I had some teammates that were drafted, and they got a whole bunch of stuff, which was cool. So that would have been cool, but yeah, no.
I know you put out a picture on your Instagram of you in a Lions uniform with number 12. Are you going to be wearing number 12?
I don't know. I didn't make those pictures. I thought they were cool, though. That's why I posted them. I thought they were really, really cool. I thought some people put a lot of work into them, so I wanted to make sure that was appreciated.
Is 12 your preferred number, though?
I think so. I wore 4 growing up. I wore 12 with Edgewood in Alabama, and then at Ohio, every other year I've worn 4. So, but I don't know. It'll be tough. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just a number. I'll wear whatever.
I'm assuming that you probably aren't in it as much because I've heard players don't really pay attention to their rookie contracts, but is there any word on your side of things with you and your agent about getting something done with the Lions relatively quick?
I haven't heard anything right now. I think there's a lot of uncertainty right now with COVID, and we're just going to be playing it by ear in that regards.
It's fair enough. Not a whole lot that you can do right now, really.
Right.
I hope this thing blows over real quick. What are you doing to stay in shape, and stay active during this whole situation?
You have to be creative. You have to do a lot of body weight stuff. You have to just do as much as you can, I think, and just kind of listen to your body and be able to make sure you're still recovering, but doing everything you can to make sure that you're in shape. I've got a good little setup in my basement, my parents' basement, and some equipment and stuff like that. So then we make use of that, and then we just try to throw as much as possible within the restrictions. I know a lot of the parks right now are closed, and we got kicked out of one last week, and so we have to make adjustments in that regard. But yeah, it's been a tough time.
Yeah.
You haven't walked into the wrong person's house by chance yet, have you?
I have not. No, I was going to, but then Tom Brady did, and I decided that was probably not a good thing to.
Man, Tom Brady's been in Tampa for less than a month, and he's already done some pretty Tampa stuff. Do you have an NFL team, or is it just kind of whatever's on you watch?
No, I was a Packers fan growing up. I was a big Brett Favre fan. I was a big Brett Favre guy growing up, and so I followed Green Bay. I followed Green Bay throughout.
That would explain the 4.
Was that?
That explains why you wore number 4.
Yeah, and that is why the 12 was my second option. Yeah, so.
So what you're saying is that if you rather Green Bay have picked you over Love, is what you're saying.
Man, I know, I get it. It's a business, you know what I mean? And as the more that I've grown up, the less that I've been a fan, and just kind of like just appreciate the quarterback, the greatness. You know what I mean? Like just like, you know, he can't deny Tom Brady and his longevity and how consistent he has been. You can't deny Drew Brees, and you watch all of these guys, right? And so it's less about, for me, cheering one team as it is just watching players and trying to learn something from their games.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, especially with the amount of great quarterbacks that league has had over the last like 15 years. Have you had it? Like, have you gone to any of like the Manning camps or anything like that? Talked to any of like the NFL quarterbacks when you were at Ohio?
Yeah, I went to the Manning Passing Academy this past in last August, I think it was, or last July. So I was there. I got to do that, and yeah, met a lot of the other college quarterbacks and Peyton and Eli as well.
What was your experience like there?
It was awesome. It was really, really cool. There's a lot of things to learn from that, and I mean, I got to have some conversations with them and sit down, and yeah, it was a really cool experience. Kind of, we had a lot of workouts as well. It was long days, and but it was really exciting, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
All right. Again,
Do you have a quarterback that you kind of model your game after, or look at and say, yeah, he's kind of the same quarterback that I am?
Not really. There's certain parts of each game that you want to emulate. I like watching people like Drew and Tom Brady that really are able to pick apart a defense schematically and be able to just short little kind of beat someone surgically with their mind and mental preparation, stuff like that, rather than unbelievable arm strength and stuff like that. So I definitely like watching people like that, but people like Russell Wilson as well, who are able to move and make people miss and stuff like that. I like watching them as well. So it's kind of I like kind of try to get something from everybody.
well, we thank you for coming on. Time's coming up, but thank you for coming on and taking the time out to sit down and talk to us. Best of luck in BC, and congrats on being drafted in the second round. And hopefully we'll be able to see you on a CFL field sometime in 2020.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thanks for having me, guys.
And let me know what number you're wearing, because that spot right there could have a Nathan Rourke jersey in it. Just saying.
I agree on that, because I need a BC jersey, and outside of Riley, there's a couple of guys, but a Canadian quarterback would be nice to have on a jersey.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll let you guys know.
All right, thanks, Nathan. Have a wonderful one.
Yeah, you too, guys.
Cool. Sweet. So I'm going to end this meeting. Actually, I'm going to stop broadcasting real quick. There's not something that needs to be done. Where the hell? Oh, here it is. So that went really well.
Yeah,